There's an interesting contradiction in most people that's surprisingly common. Have you ever noticed that you can work for hours like a machine for your boss, company, or employer without complaining? But when it comes to working on your own goals, you suddenly lose momentum and keep putting things off until tomorrow. Many people call this laziness, but psychology research suggests the story is much more complicated. The real issue isn't laziness, it's the way the brain deals with expectations, fear of failure, and protection of personal identity. So why is it easier to work on other people's goals than your own? A researcher named Gretchen Rubin suggests that people respond to expectations in different ways. Some people meet both their own expectations and the expectations of others. Some people won't do something unless they see a logical reason for it. Some only take action when someone else expects them to. And some naturally resist any form of obligation. Interestingly, a large number of people fall into the group that performs exceptionally well when expectations come from the outside, but struggles when pursuing personal goals. That's why many people are excellent employees, yet get stuck when they try to start their own business or pursue their own dreams. When you work for a company, if a project fails, the entire responsibility usually isn't on your shoulders. You don't feel much stress because you're still getting paid at the end of the month and can continue doing your job. But with a personal project, the story is different. That project becomes part of your identity. If it succeeds, you feel valuable. If it fails, you may feel like you failed as a person. You may even start imagining that others see you as incompetent or unsuccessful. As a result, your brain tries to protect your self-esteem and identity by pushing you toward procrastination and avoidance. In many cases, procrastination comes from fear of failure, not laziness. The brain loves immediate rewards. One of the brain's natural tendencies is to value immediate rewards more than distant ones. With a personal business, you don't know exactly when the money will come. How much will you earn? How long will it take before you make money? Can you even count on it? But an employee's monthly paycheck is immediate, predictable, and tangible. So your brain tells you, are you crazy? Why take risks? Just work for someone else and collect your paycheck. And whenever it's time to work on your own project, your brain starts making excuses. Watch one episode first. Scroll Instagram for a bit. Start tomorrow. This creates a constant battle between the version of you that makes plans and the version of you that has to execute them. So why is it so hard to start working on your own goals? When you have a personal project, several problems appear at the same time. First, attention is limited. The brain can't effectively handle multiple complex challenges simultaneously. When you work for someone else, your responsibilities are usually clear and repetitive, but your own project is filled with different challenges that all need your attention. Second, unfinished tasks stay active in your mind and consume mental energy. You might be working on one part of your project when another unfinished task suddenly pops into your head. Oh right, I still haven't done that, and I completely forgot about that other thing. Third, when you work from home, there is often no clear boundary between work and rest, making concentration much harder. Your phone is always within reach. A single notification can pull you into an entirely different world for an hour. At a traditional job, the presence of a manager or workplace expectations often prevents that distraction. All of these factors together make personal projects much harder than they appear. So why do we often work harder for others than for ourselves? Jordan Peterson makes an interesting observation. He argues that many people are willing to work harder for others than they are for themselves. They'll dedicate time and effort to family, friends, coworkers, or even their pets, but neglect their own goals. One reason is that we know all of our weaknesses and mistakes. As a result, we sometimes unconsciously feel that we aren't valuable enough to deserve the same level of effort. That's why working for others often feels easier than working for ourselves. The real enemy behind this struggle is resistance. It's that voice in your head that appears right when you're about to start, not now. Tomorrow would be better. Let me do a little more research first. I'm not ready yet. What's interesting is that resistance becomes strongest when the task truly matters. Writing a book, building a business, learning a new skill, exercising consistently. The more a task has the potential to change your life, the stronger the resistance becomes. So what's the difference between an amateur and a professional? An amateur works only when they feel like it, when they're motivated, when conditions are perfect. A professional doesn't wait for the right mood. They show up like an employee reporting to work, whether they feel like it or not. That's why professionals eventually pull ahead in the long run.
Now let's talk about solutions. The first solution is to stop relying solely on willpower. One of the biggest mistakes people make is believing that willpower alone can solve everything. Willpower is limited. It gets tired. Sometimes it fades. Sometimes it disappears entirely. That's why consistency matters more. Create rules for yourself. Put financial commitments in place. Design systems that make quitting more difficult. The less you depend on momentary motivation, the more likely you are to succeed. The second solution is to find someone who holds you accountable. Having someone track your progress can be incredibly powerful, but this person shouldn't just be supportive. They should have enough time. They should think logically rather than emotionally. They should understand the fields you're working in. They should genuinely care about your success, and they should know how to keep you accountable effectively. The third solution is to stop being an employee in your own life and become the CEO of it. A large part of the problem is that many of us still think like employees. We're waiting for someone to give us a plan, someone to give us instructions, someone to check on us, someone to force us into action. But when you're pursuing a personal project, you need to think like a CEO. A CEO doesn't wait for instructions. A CEO creates the plan and takes responsibility for the outcome. They build habits. They start the work even when they don't feel like it. And here are a few principles worth remembering. Instead of chasing perfection, make decisions, take action, and stay consistent. In the end, only two things truly matter: starting and staying consistent. Instead of drowning in details, focus on the bigger picture. Most importantly, protect your energy and your sleep, because productivity depends more on energy management than time management. So if you're procrastinating on your personal projects, the problem probably isn't laziness. Your brain is trying to protect you from fear of failure, judgment, and damage to your identity. But success belongs to people who don't wait for motivation, people who move forward every day even when they don't feel like it. Maybe it's time to resign from the job of being an employee of other people's dreams and become the CEO of your own life. If you made it this far, don't forget to like the video and subscribe to the channel so you don't miss the next one.